We are Steel Magnolias, two sisters who love family, traditions, and all things Southern. We've got plenty of room at our table, so pull up a chair. Hi there, sister.
Hey, lady.
You sound a little nasal today.
I am nasal-ish.
Oh, well, you're not feeling 100%, but you're devoted to our listeners.
I am. I'm not sure if it's allergies or a summer cold, but I'm here and I'm having a nice cup of Chinese hot tea.
Yes.
No cocktails for us today.
No cocktails today. We'll get you feeling good.
Well, I wanted to give a couple of housekeeping things before we jump into today's episode. One, if you haven't joined our mailing list, you need to do that. So click the link in our show notes to sign up. It'll take you under a minute to do that. All we do is send one email out per month.
But we're not going to overdo it.
Yeah. We always have something fun, though, to share that's a little bit beyond what we talk about here on the podcast. So it's a quick read, but we want to make sure you guys are in the know. 2, follow us on Instagram.
Please.
And if you do already follow us on Instagram at Steel Magnolias Podcast, then you already know that we just launched a giveaway this week.
It's a good one.
It's going to go for a couple of weeks, and we are going to talk about that giveaway at the end of today's episode because it ties into what we're talking about. But it's just fun to share extra content with you guys on stuff we're talking about on the show, and also a fun way to interact with you as well. So make sure.
And we have a podcast group on Facebook as well.
Do.
And we want more interaction happening there. So
yeah.
Hopefully you guys will jump in on that as well.
Yeah. So today is also a mega topic. We are talking about Southern interiors.
Yes.
A few weeks back, we talked about Southern exteriors and porches.
That's right.
And we knew we couldn't do the inside of a Southern home all in one episode with the outside. So
yeah, it's even hard to do just one episode on this, but we're going to do the best we can.
It's kind of an intimidating topic because, as we've mentioned a lot on here, hospitality
that's just it.
A big deal in the South, and it's one of those characteristics that a lot of people compliment Southerners on. And so there's a lot of pride in our homes.
That's right.
In making them beautiful and homey and peaceful and welcoming. Yeah. So, so we're going to spend some time talking about Southern interiors. I thought I might start with a quote from Dominique Browning. She was the editor-in-chief of House and Garden from 1995, I think it was. Yeah, to 2007. So a long stretch. But this was a story that appeared in Southern Living's 50-year anniversary magazine. I feel like I referenced that a lot on here.
Years ago.
Yeah, but it was such a great resource that I draw from it from time to time. But Dominique Browning, she says, the bedrooms with those dark, heavy thrones, those repositories of family history, 4-poster mahogany temples passed down from generation to generation. This is the kind of furniture that you can't haul up 4 floors of a New York brownstone. The kind of brown stuff that simply doesn't relocate comfortably because it was meant to stay forever in its first home. Once upon a time, Southern style meant a dining room that was used every night, meals served at a table with leaves that could easily accommodate 6 more guests at the last moment.
Wow.
And it meant cooking on all 8 burners in a serious kitchen full of dangerous tools. None of this open floor plan with everyone hanging out over the granite island. The kitchen was a private place. Chocolate cakes and blueberry pies cooled on racks on the back porch.
That's right.
Still, today's Southern style takes its cues from such warm antecedents, and I predict a return of the cook's privacy any day now. We'll start to admire the good old-fashioned closed plans, i.e. rooms.
Now, this is interesting because being that I live in an old house, it is
you have
all private rooms.
Yes.
And I sometimes catch myself, particularly in the kitchen, thinking, I wish it was open where I could see other rooms. You know, like if you have people over, this kitchen's kind of small for
having people stand in it and cook in it.
Which is always where people want to congregate,
That's
in the
right.
kitchen. Yeah.
But that's the only room that I find myself wanting it to be more open. These
Okay.
hugely open floor plans, I'm not necessarily a big fan of everything being so open, but
Yeah.
I do wish my kitchen was a little more open.
Yeah.
But
Well, you've done well to move an eat-in space into your kitchen
Yeah.
area so that
At
someone
least
can
some
sit
can-
here
yeah.
and talk to you or
yeah.
finish their dinner while you're cleaning plates or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But I just thought that was so
That's a good-
interesting.
yeah.
And I loved what she was talking about, the just sturdiness.
Bulky
and-
furniture
Yeah.
that wasn't intended to be moved all the time.
Right? These,
Yeah.
like, we talked about wood chests last week on our antiques episode. I mean, some of those chests are incredibly heavy. They weren't
Yeah.
meant to, they were not suitcases to be
Right.
moved around, you know?
That's right. And there was some great furniture that was built largely because their closets were tiny. So,
True.
you know, these closets here, this hasn't had a major renovation where there's walk-in closets. So,
Yeah.
that's just an interesting thing that played into the interiors as
Yeah.
well, as you would have the big armoires to hold your clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things like that.
Well, let's talk about just kind of some of your thoughts about different interior styles or
Yeah.
design elements.
Well, I jotted down some of the things that I think are important in setting up a space, and I'll say from the get-go is budget matters. Like
Yeah.
and everybody has one. I mean, some are much more limited than others, but everybody has a budget that they need to stay within.
Yeah.
And if you don't stay within that, to some degree, are you even going to be able to enjoy the room? Because I think about if you go so far over your budget that now you have to work a lot, you don't even get to sit in that
Right.
room.
Or it's that point of contention between
In a
you
family or a
and your
marriage.
family.
and
Yeah.
That's not worth it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say everybody does have a budget, though some are much larger than others. So kind of think through that before you even get started, because that's going to play into what you're able to do. And
Yeah.
there's many things you can do that are not crazy expensive and some that are.
Right.
So I haven't gotten to do any major renovations of a home or, you know, tearing out walls and that kind of thing. Mine's usually been a lot smaller than that.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy the space I have and dream of what I could do if ever that door opens.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to put more
Yeah.
into it.
Well, in the space that we're sitting in, even recording this episode, this was
Major renovation.
Very-
In the sense of making it look totally different
Yes.
on a budget.
yeah. So we're in the former sunroom laundry room
Yeah.
that's now the kitchen,
kitchen.
and eat-in dining area. And that was a big project, but turned out beautifully.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's just so much you can do. But wanted to start with that. It's
Yeah.
just letting the budget kind
Yeah.
of shape
Absolutely.
the direction.
Just like everybody's size house or apartment or condo is different.
That's right.
Your inside's going to be different
That's
too.
right.
Your budget, yeah.
That's right. Well, I think it's important just for telling a story, because again, that's kind of one of the important things to Southerners. Is you want your rooms to tell somewhat of a story, not
Yes.
just be straight from a catalog or
Right.
something. You want some personal touches, and I think one of the best things you can do is mix old and new.
Absolutely.
Freshen things up with some new, but having a little bit of old. And even I jotted down the note to have a focal piece. So
Okay.
something that's kind of one of a kind or
Yeah.
very unique.
Yeah.
And funny enough, in some rooms of my house, the focal piece was given to me and I worked the room around it.
Yeah.
Like I have a really unusual wall hanging that's like a concrete relief kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's so unusual that like I wanted everything else to be kind of plain
Right.
in the room.
Everybody asks you about that piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to have like a focal piece that you build around.
Yeah. And I do think, as you were saying, like Southerners being storytellers, I mean, we want to share the stories, so this is just kind of our
An
platform
invitation to ask.
to be,
What is this?
to have something to talk about.
Tell
Absolutely.
me about this. Yeah. And I think it's important to have meaningful items around you in rooms. Not every single thing, but have a few things that were either passed down or that you found. It's, you know, there's a story to even where you got it or that kind of thing.
Yeah. Have you noticed that there are certain items that are popular right now in terms of decor that are reproductions that, like, you wouldn't know? For instance, the dough bowl.
Oh, yeah.
So I got a dough bowl from Pottery Barn.
Okay.
It was on my registry for my wedding. I didn't know that was a dough bowl. I just thought it was this cool Pottery Barn piece.
Yeah.
But then in doing research for this, I started looking into different decor items, and I'm like, oh, that's a dough bowl. I got that from Pottery Barn. I didn't know that was a place to provide a snug, warm area for bread to rise.
Isn't that funny? And, yeah.
So I don't think that you would look at mine and think it was like an heirloom piece, but I don't know.
Somebody might think that is. That's right.
10 years, they might think it's a real antique, and
it
it's
is
not.
Funny, isn't it? Another one that comes in my mind is I'm seeing so many of these tobacco baskets.
Yes.
I mean, there are real tobacco baskets out of Kentucky barns that you could just hang up over your fireplace. But I'm also seeing them in Ballard Design Catalog.
Right.
And like different things like that.
TJ Maxx Home Goods.
Yeah. So it probably never touched tobacco. But it's supposed to look like
cotton wreaths or cotton, just different pieces of cotton to just kind of put in.
That's seen in a lot of Southern decor now.
Anyway, between what we're talking about, I think it's funny to think you may even not intentionally be fooling somebody, but if you're thinking, oh, I don't have any new and old mixed up in the room, you might. You just don't know it.
That's right.
The dough bowl might be serving as the old piece, and you didn't even realize it.
Like something old.
Exactly.
That's fun. Yeah, and I think also I'm going to start with saying this. When I first started trying to shape rooms into what I wanted them to look like, I started thinking about what rooms do I like in other people's houses and what is it I like about it. Mm-hmm. And one thing that's important to me is for it to feel comfortable. I want there to already have thought through, there's coaster for me to put my drink down. There's a blanket if I get cold.
Yes.
Those kinds of things sitting around where it just feels
there's a side table for me to,
Yeah. Uh-huh. So pay attention to things you like and rooms that you like and what is it that you like about it. And another thing I jotted down here was I like a mix of patterns and textures.
Yeah.
I remember going in a house one time that was very high budget.
Okay.
And when I walked in, while everything in the house was beautiful, it literally was Restoration Hardware. I mean, when I say literally, I mean it looked like they had literally just picked out this room, that room, that room from Restoration Hardware.
Right.
I want to say I love the look of Restoration Hardware.
They've got really pretty things.
But it's quite boring when you walk into a house and it looks like you're in the catalog.
Yeah.
No storytelling at all in that.
Yeah.
So it's so much more fun if there's a mix of, some wood and some glass and some stripe and some pattern and just a mix of different textures and
I think Southern designers, which I know we're going to get into some specific ones later, I think Southern interior designers err on the side of a lot of mix.
Oh, yeah. I would agree, yeah.
So much so that, sometimes I'm going, okay, I'd have to take at least a couple of these things out because there's just such a colorful palette happening.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
There's been kind of a movement for a short while now of such plain farmhouse style.
Yeah.
Some of which I really like.
Yeah.
But it almost goes to the other extreme where everything's so plain.
Yes. Yeah.
So there again, I like more of a mix of changing it up and having a lot of different mix of textures and patterns.
Agree. Yeah.
A couple of other things. Personally, I love hardwood floors with rugs.
Oh, hardwood floors are great.
So pretty to have. Yes. Even changing that of having the rug kind of pop off the floor, and it can set the tone of the sitting area. Yeah. That kind of thing. And you can bring in some great color even with rugs.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
It's a whole nother design element that you can have fun with. Yeah, is doing rugs and
makes it comfortable too.
Yeah. And then I a while back I love travel, and with travel I think that is a fun way to bring in some creativity in your decor.
Yes,
of buying a memento from your travels that brings in something into your home.
Yeah.
Just to remember the trip or remember a great moment.
Yeah.
Something like that. And that does not have to, that could go in any budget.
Sure.
It could be you found this $5 print that you had framed from a gift shop somewhere, or it could be, if you've got the budget and you're in Turkey, buy some, thousands and thousands of dollar Persian rug. Whatever the budget, you can make it work with travel purchases.
Never bought any Persian rugs yet. But.
Well, I haven't bought any Persian rugs either, but I've drooled on a few, and I got to in Turkey, and it was a funny story because...
Oh, did they think you were serious and then get frustrated?
Well, I had no idea rugs could have as many digits in the price as they had in these. And it's a long story, but I was with a group that really was interested in these rugs. I was out of my element. And so I was floored when they were giving out the pricing because it fit. They were showing the ones that fit with most of the group's budget.
Wow.
And so I was just alone, like, whoa.
Yeah, like I'll be outside.
But I loved getting to see that.
Yeah.
Like it was really a cool thing. But anyway, buying a nice rug that you can afford, whatever that price range is, that's an important piece of the design element. But with the travel piece, like I said, in any budget, I found when I went to Scotland one time, I fell in love with these cows called Highland Coo.
Oh my gosh, you came back cooing over the coos.
They have hair, bangs. It's the cutest thing. So I got a pillow that had a Highland Coo on it.
Yes.
And it sits in my living room, and I remember that trip, that precious creature. Yeah. And it's a cute pillow. Yeah. So there's just things in any price range that you can find, or even framing a photograph from your trip.
Yeah.
So that's
fun.
A design element that I've tried to bring in. And then the last one I wanted to mention personally is I love to bring some literal life into a room with live plants.
Yes.
So
what do you think about having a mix of both? Because we've been talking about a mix of things. So what about live and fake plants? Or are you only for live plants?
Personally am I have one fake thing that somebody gave me that I actually like. Mm-hmm. It's small. But for the most part, I like live. But I think if it's, there's some that look pretty real.
Yeah.
So make sure it looks pretty real.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff can collect dust. And if it gets any dust on it, it looks gross to me.
That's so true.
So you're going to have to stay on that part. Whereas with a live plant, in watering it, that doesn't happen.
Right.
Because there's nothing worse than a nasty, dusty fake plant. So I err on no fake, but if it was up high enough and you kept it dusted, or it was real enough looking and you kept it shiny, I guess that would maybe be okay.
Mostly just bring the outdoors in.
Bring the outdoors in.
Yeah.
Even with color, like it's fun to have some greens and things that bring life.
Yeah.
So that's just a few of my personal things I wanted to mention.
And then, I would just say overall, bold colors, wallpapers, I think I'm seeing even more and more homes that may not be deemed as a full Southern interior, at least take on a wallpaper pattern like in a guest bathroom.
Yeah.
Or like just
on
have,
a wall.
Yes.
Sometimes just one wall you can have a bold pattern, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do think there's many things designers can help you with, but they just have a particular eye that's creative and different than most of us have.
Yeah.
And they see those kinds of possibilities of textures, and we could do this on this wall, and we could put this over that buffet, and they just see more.
I know. They do.
It's pretty awesome to watch when they're so visionary.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you do need to hire somebody to help you with that kind of thing.
Well, the other thing before we jump into designers that I would say is definitely an element that's a part of a lot of Southern interiors is crown molding. That's a big design element. And so, crown molding in a functional sense, it can cover cracks that could form between the wall and the ceiling. It's especially common in older homes, but the decorative purpose of crown molding is the enduring reason for its popularity. It's just gorgeous. Even from the very start, I think crown molding was meant to make a house just look more elaborate.
Crowned, I guess.
Crowned,
even.
Yeah. So it might be hiding some cracks, but let's be honest. Like, that's not why a lot of people put crown molding in their home.
Right.
They can tell themselves that, maybe. But it does add so much. And it doesn't just have to sit between wall and ceiling. It can frame windows. It can frame doors. It can, it can just
go through the middle of a wall.
Yeah. What do they call that? The chair?
That chair rail.
Chair rail,
There's even elements that they'll bring molding in to make, squares in the wall.
In the wall. Draw your attention
to things. They'll even sometimes, a designer will put a pattern inside that.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
And there's just even a large range of how elaborate even crown molding can be. You can have a simple molding or a very elaborate, intricate molding.
But that is a way to really up the ante in a room. Yeah. And you can even possibly do that yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
One of the things I was going to say about when you're trying to stick with a budget, one is paint is a really inexpensive way to make a big transformation.
Yes.
So if your budget is really small, that might be where you want to stay.
Okay,
doing something like that.
That's very true.
And then maybe the next step would be thinking about perhaps, molding, again, large budget range there, but maybe doing a little bit of molding or decorative pillows is like kind of the next step of bringing in some things on a not too crazy budget.
Yeah. The overall theme, I think, of everything that we're speaking about is a Southern home in its interior is collected.
Yeah.
Like, it's
true.
It's just...
That's why it morphs all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I've got this, so now I'm moving that here and this here.
Yeah. So it should feel like a collection of your favorite things, if you will. So we were asked to be on a tour of homes.
Yes.
Several years ago.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the year. Was it 2012?
I think so. Yeah.
I think that sounds right.
Which was such an honor.
Such an honor. It was because of the street we live on.
Right.
It wasn't like they picked various homes all over the city. It was this street that we lived on or live on, and they invited the homes on that street to participate.
I think they wanted about 10 homes to participate, and it coincided with an annual event they do every year, and it was around Christmas time, so it was candlelight, and they had the little, what do you call those?
Luminaries.
Down the road. It was
was blocked off where you could just walk. It was so cool.
Yeah.
But we got to participate in that, and it was funny because we don't have a house full of antiques and fine furniture. So I was, we had a discussion. Do we want to participate? But we really felt strongly that we should.
Well, it was like once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah. And it was a great experience. We got tons of
The house has never been more clean. We were like brushing the
Shining
baseboards with toothbrushes.
It did look good. But in addition to that, we got to go in the homes of our neighbors and see their places, which you don't get to do much anymore.
Especially not in that sort of setting where everyone's like... It wasn't truly Christmas time, but a lot of people had already gone and put up some Christmas decorations because it was close enough.
It was the very end of November.
Yeah. So it was very inviting, very warm, and like warm and inviting. And yeah.
And yeah, when you're decorated for Christmas too, it's next level, right? Because you have like...
Everybody's house looks better decorated for Christmas.
But we did feel some intimidation.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets funny.
We were one of the more modest homes on the street, even though we were very excited to be on the tour.
Right. Not only, just in the size of the home, but even in some of the decor in some of these homes were so grand. But we live right across the street from not only this gorgeous home, but the couple who owned it have a beautiful interior design firm. And that was our across-the-street neighbor. So most of the people who came on the tour went from that home to our home.
To our house. So that's how we were neighbors, and that's how we truly got to know Eric Ross and his wife, Ruth Ann, and they are awesome. Eric's business is thriving. He is an interior designer and has... he's got seasoned experience. He was, he's been doing this for over 20 years. His work's been published in Traditional Home, Southern Style, Southern Lady, The Cottage Journal, and he has a gorgeous book out.
Coffee table book.
Coffee table, yeah. Great gift. It's called Enduring Southern Homes. And it's thick. Like he went in depth and walks through
gorgeous photography,
design. Yeah. And so, two things. One, we connected with him to ask him some of the questions from a design perspective that we felt like our listeners might want to know, because it's definitely things we wanted to know.
That's right.
And then secondly, I'll talk more about the book in just a second. But we asked Eric first, who are some of his favorite Southern designers?
Yeah.
And he only mentioned one person. He mentioned Richard Keith Langham, I think is how you would say it. For his unapologetic use of color and pattern. So this is...
Which Eric uses that as well. So I can see why he would make that statement.
So I looked up the designer on Instagram, and we'll put a link in our show notes if you're interested. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I picked my favorite, and I was going to show you.
Okay.
And the caption of this room is perfect. It says, "Can a room be handsome and beautiful at the same time?"
Oh, come on. That is gorgeous.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I might have to, I'll repost that on our Instagram. Like, there's so much glory and joy and...
That is beautiful. We have oil paintings. We have pops of color and patterns, and that's splendid. Look,
it really is feminine and handsome at the same time. I've never seen anything coexist like this. It looks royal.
It's gorgeous. I've wanted to... I love when that happens, where there's a mix of femininity and masculinity together in a room.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I really like a lot of the things like, the dark wood and the plaid fabrics that you'll see like a Ralph Lauren use and different things like that. And sometimes I go, oh, is that too masculine? I don't want it. But when you
alone, it might look that way.
That's right. But when you do a mix, it can work.
Because there's a pink chair in this room, but there's also a dark mahogany chest.
And a green velvet chair. That's chest. Pretty bright green.
And a dark mahogany coffee table.
Yeah. So you can do mixes like that.
Yeah.
But Eric is, he's got such an eye.
It's a gift.
Definitely see influence in him from... Charles, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Faudree, that was real popular. He's passed away now, but he was a popular Southern designer, and I can see some similarities there.
Well, they spend a decent amount over in High Point, North Carolina. And so we asked them about that as well. Like, what's so special about High Point, North Carolina? Because
I knew there was lots of furniture in North Carolina,
right?
That kind of thing. But yeah,
well, he said, it's really a very small group of companies that everyone knows everyone, and the town of High Point is quintessential small Southern town. So it's easy to maneuver. They hire a lot of locals during the Furniture Mart, so it feels like home because it's just a lot of Southerners who are working the various showrooms. And so he likes it, it sounds like, a lot for the people as well as for the furniture that's there. We asked him about colors and patterns, which, of course, seemed to be the running theme here. And he said, is there anything more Southern than a red damask? I think not. I love that.
That sounds like Eric. Yes.
But he said it may not be in fashion right now, but it's very Southern. Southerners are not shy or vague, so their interiors are typically more expressive. We want guests to know we really bring out our best when doing anything, especially decorating our houses.
Yeah.
Which is what I was trying to say at the front end of this episode, is it's an expression of us trying to extend that hospitality.
That's right. And some people have oil paintings in fine silver, and for somebody else, their best might not be that elaborate, but it's still the best.
Yeah.
And just having that out for people.
Yeah. One of the things that you and I have talked about that designers seem to have as an especially unique gift is the way they display things.
Yeah.
And so we did ask him, any favorite heirlooms or ways to display or showcase, and he said he has... he would say the dishes area is a personal favorite, so he loves to display them on stands or hang them in a wall or a grouping.
Yeah, he does do that a lot, but using dishes.
Yeah.
And I think he likes a lot of the blue and white Chinese porcelain. He does some gorgeous things with that. That's another piece you'll see a lot in his work.
Yeah. We talked about flowing from room to room. So he was just mentioning, it's important to repeat a motif so that there's linking elements as you go room to room.
Color or something that goes.
So I guess
makes it have a flow.
Not necessarily thinking of rooms in siloed sort of ways, but bring a thread throughout them.
And that's really with any kind of art. I've heard artists say that, even about one piece, how they'll use color through, like as a thread.
Yeah.
So that there's a movement of the eye.
Yeah.
And that's what you want through a house as you're walking through a house as well.
Yeah. But like we said, he's got this book. He is very talented, and we asked him what was the intent or purpose behind doing a book, because he's got a business that is keeping him busy. Yeah. So why the book? And I loved this. He said, I wrote the book as an antidote to the white room that is a virus spreading everywhere. I have had an overwhelmingly positive response because the book features colorful, layered rooms. I just felt it was time to bring something different in the sea of sameness we see on Instagram and other social media platforms. I think white rooms have become so popular because that's all people are seeing in all media. I just have a different voice and wanted to start a more interesting conversation about design and decoration. So
I love that.
This book definitely is a mass exodus from
the farmhouse,
the white farmhouse that has really grown in popularity.
I really feel like with that real stark white rooms that we see that are so popular.
Yeah.
I got thinking one day, and I thought, that's going to be one of those things where people go, oh my gosh, that's so 2015, or that's so 2018.
That's so true.
Or
shiplapped walls, yeah.
Where, just like we say that about the mauve of the 80s. Oh my gosh, that's so 80s.
Yes.
I feel like, that's going to be, it's not something that is timeless. It's going to have a stamp of when it was.
Yeah. Well, we're going to give away a book. And this is, I'm going to tell you right now, if you win this book, you're going to think, I'd like to give that as a Christmas gift, or you're going to want to keep it for yourself, for sure.
And then maybe buy some for gifts, because it really is a nice book, which, by the way, coffee table books look great sitting out as decor.
That's
but
true.
Keep going. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
So we're launching a virtual tour of homes is what we're going to call it. So for the next 2 weeks, we want to see your favorite Southern room. So you don't have to think about a whole house, just a room. And
Does it have to be their own house?
It can be a friend's. It can be a relative's.
Not like from Traditional Home Magazine, though.
No, like if you took a picture in the Biltmore when you were there last Christmas. That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
No. It's got to be one that you're in some
actually
way
have walked
to.
in and you've taken a picture.
And so all the details are going to be on our Instagram and Facebook, but we want you to follow us and Eric Ross and post a picture and use the hashtag Enduring Southern Homes Tour. And we will select a winner after the next 2 weeks and send you a copy of Eric's book.
Love it.
It is gorgeous.
It is. It really is.
We're excited to see people's rooms. And so I just wanted to drop that in and make sure everybody knew about that.
Instagram is a great place to get design ideas, too. I think there's some great people, on there. I'd love to hear some of the favorite Instagram accounts from some of our listeners, just to check them out. A couple of ones that I like. There's one called Schumacher 1889 that has a lot of really pretty textiles that they do.
Okay.
So that's one I like to look at on Instagram. There's some great Pinterest boards out. I don't know. I just love to hear what people like in their
Well, and that's the beauty of
following
all of these social access pages that we have. This is basically like you're getting free consultation.
It's so true.
You're getting to flip through catalogs without actually having to meet with a designer. Now, it may oftentimes lead you
to the right designer.
But at least then you know, like, the styles that you like or elements that you're drawn to. So.
Yeah. Or if you do end up getting to hire Eric Ross, you can say, here's some rooms you've done that I like, and here's some rooms that I like from other people, and that will help direct the designer as well.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of Pinterest boards out there to give you ideas and different things. I've got my own Pinterest boards that I like to divide by rooms, like bathrooms that I like or bedrooms that I like. Yeah. But you see division of people organize all different ways, like just by colors.
Oh, I know.
Or glass and wood and
it could be wood in bathrooms. And I'm like, no, I don't want wood.
I need all my...
I'm looking for a living room. Yeah. See, I have to go by room.
That shows you how different people categorize things. Yeah. It's funny, too.
That is funny. That's probably like a personality thing.
Probably would tell you some things.
How people sort.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing I do want to say, though. I'm sorry. I did want to say this. There are many stores that are owned by interior designers.
Yes.
Where you can actually go into a storefront.
Yeah.
They have some items for sale. We have one right up the street from us called Refresh.
Right.
And so it is a storefront that you can walk in. They have some fun furniture, lighting, decor
they've
pieces.
Got a cool display,
But they also, there's more than just that. You can hire designers to come look at your room. You can, like, maybe they have a couch there.
Right.
But they have samples of fabrics, just like Eric Ross or any other designer is going to have, where you can see options. But I wanted to mention Refresh because our mom makes pillows for Refresh.
Yes.
They sell... they go in, buy fabrics. Mom makes pillows for them, and they sell them in the store. They also do custom projects for people, as do most designers.
Yeah.
So, but it's just a different way of kind of going in. If you have no idea what you like, you can look around, kind of start to see what textiles you like.
That's good, yeah.
And then go in a direction. They can kind of, those kinds of places can help steer you in a direction.
Good. You can touch and feel. And
and I'm sure Eric would say, if you meet with him, it's helpful to know, like, here's some images that I like.
Yeah.
Just to help give direction.
Right. And then you can start mixing things. I feel like everybody has most people can make decisions by eliminating
easier than
saying, this is what I like.
And a lot of people don't know how to
like?
put into words what they like,
Right.
but they can go, yes, no.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that. No, I don't like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's I think, a good nutshell of Southern interior.
Good job, sis. We did it.
We did it. Well, again, you guys participate in this giveaway because you're going to want this book.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So get your photos loaded up. # Enduring Southern Homes Tour. And you've got 2 weeks to do it. We'll see you here next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.